Hi and welcome. I'm so glad you joined us. Today is a bonus conversation with Becky. She was a wonderful episode of Journeys into the Soul, and her episode was called Walk the Path. It was filmed in Scottsdale, Arizona, and her practitioner was Dr. Erica Middlemiss. This was such a profound experience. I wanted to share what happened after her episode. She's a powerful manifester, and I came here to show this is the creative possibilities that can happen when a person has some clarity in their life. Becky, I'm so glad you joined me. Thank you for inviting me into your home today.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
This is an incredible house. I came here for one reason only, because you've had this manifestation. You had a session. In your session, you had this idea that you should have your own space, and holy smokes, you manifested it. So when I was like, hey, would you like to do a bonus follow-up conversation? You're like, yeah, in fact, I got a new house.
Yep.
So give me the version that you want to make public. Give me the version about how this whole thing came to pass.
Okay. So after my session, I it was a few months more after that, but I really went inside and kind of looked and looked over all of the different things that I had said, what my higher self had told me. And one day I just woke up and I heard very loud and clear, it's time, do it now. So I went on and got approved, and within 6 weeks I was in this house.
It's a beautiful home. Thank you for sharing these images. The setting is beautiful. It feels like you've put time and love into this place. It feels like it's your energy and it's the way you like it. And it's just such a beautiful space.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your episode is called Walk the Path, and there was a very specific and clear message that you got. So you're in this dark space, and then you find that your guide, the guardian, is there to give you information. Tell me about the guardian. What's your perspective on that?
Well, he's the guardian of the mountain, and I believe the guardian of me. And so when I was able to talk with him, he told me to walk into the darkness, which I actually feel like I've done a lot this year. To not be afraid that I wear my crown, and my crown lights the way,
Yeah.
and that the
Now,
light is inside of me.
as I'm observing this, I'm like, wait, the darkness, ooh, that's scary. And you're like, no, it's not scary. It's the unknown.
Yes, yes,
Wow.
exactly.
And then he puts a crown on your head. Tell me about the crown.
Crown lights up, but it only lights up because it's on me. So I'm the light. The light comes from within me, and I light my own path.
Yeah. I love that because so many times we're given a narrative that there has to be an external source to give you that direction, to give you, what you're supposed to do. But you were clearly being guided by an intuition that was like, no, this is coming from within me. So it was clearly an intuitive connection. Tell me about that.
I think looking into the darkness and seeing some of the crazy things that I saw during the session, it just showed me that even if there is darkness or this unknown or whatever, that it's really not that scary. You can be your own light as long as you just go head on with bravery and open your eyes and just really see what is in front of you and see the beauty in all of it. Then it's not scary anymore. So, and that's kind of the same that happened in this huge shift this year for myself. It was very scary to leave everybody. Eric is in his own space. My daughter and my grandchildren are in their own space, and I have my own space finally. The first little while, it was very scary for everyone, but I just kept going forward and listening to my gut and saying, it's this is right. This is what it's going to be. There was one house, and this is the house. So,
Wow.
yeah. So
Wow.
I feel like this was very much divinely guided, and also really just listening to my inner self and really not straying from that and just doing it. It's as scary as it was, just stepping forward into it anyways.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. And you listened to that intuition, and that was either the guiding light, so to speak,
Hmm.
that showed you, well, I can go through here if I feel that I'm supposed, and you're like, I need my own space. That was part of your
Hmm.
what you were looking for, and here it is. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's very great. And I've had so many people ask me, aren't you lonely being by yourself? Aren't you, all of those things? And it's no, I'm not. I'm
That's
not at all,
That's
actually.
good.
I feel like I'm finding myself again. So that light is coming back. In fact, I just texted my mom this morning a picture, and I was like, "Look at my eyes, are they're brighter already, you know, and I feel like the light is coming back." And she said, "We've been seeing that in you for the last couple months." So
Oh,
that
wow.
made me feel really good.
That's awesome. So in your session, after you get the crown put on your head, you're back in that dark space, but you're like, yeah, I'm not afraid. I'm going forward. And Erica says, okay, is there any more information from the guardian? You're like, no, he's asleep. And she was like, he's asleep, really? You know, like, yeah, there's no more information. He's asleep. And she was like, okay. And tell me about that. That was one of the funny parts of your session.
Yeah, he I came back and he was asleep, and I took that, maybe not right at that moment, but the more I kind of looked back at my session, I took that as, I'm gonna close my eyes and now it's your turn to open your eyes and walk. So that's kind of how I took that. He wasn't really asleep, like he's ignoring me, but he's gonna rest now. So it's my turn to step into the light
Mm.
and do the things. So
That's powerful. Thank you for that. I hadn't thought of that aspect of it. And it's interesting how after you do a session, things keep revealing themselves more to you. And that's such a powerful thing because if you're supposed to use your intuition, you can't have the guardian tell you everything because then it's not your intuition, it's the
yeah.
guardian. So he goes, no, I've given you information. Now it's your turn. And isn't that the way our spirit guides are trying to work with us? We're here to help you, but it's your journey.
Yep. They can only give us so much, but we have to initiate the change, initiate the process, you know, the healing, the work, do the work.
Yeah.
So we have to, and it's our own free will. So if we choose not to, then we choose not to, and they will be there waiting to show us again
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
some point.
That's
So
good. So after that occurs, Erica says, can I have permission to talk to your higher self, the subconscious? And you're like, yes. And she said, what is something that she needs to know? And your higher self, through you, your intuition, says she needs to get her own place. And that is when we started this whole journey of, oh, tell me more about that. Give some presence to that whole experience.
at the beginning of that, when I went back and re-listened to my sessions, that scared me worse, I think, than anything. Again, we're going into this unknown darkness that I'm not familiar with, because for years and years I've had my family in the same house with me. So through that process, I realized that that was a learning process for myself and also for the people that lived with me, my daughter, Eric, everybody. When I was told, basically, like, that's kind of how I look at it. When I was told, or I told myself, you need to get your own place, it was frightening to me because I didn't want to be alone. At that point, I wasn't ready to be alone just yet, but that seed was planted, and I knew that that was it's inevitable, it's going to happen. And if I don't listen to that, then things could get worse at the space that I was in. And I didn't listen for a while, and they did get a little bit worse for a while. But once I said yes, and finally just said, okay, I know all the information, I know what I need to do. And that was on a Sunday, and on Tuesday I was approved for the house. So that was the morning I woke up and said, it's time.
Yeah.
I heard it. Just hearing that, you have to have your own space. You have to have, it is scary, because are they still going to love me? That's one of the things that came up. Are my grandkids going to not like me as much because I'm not there with them every single day? Is my daughter going to be mad at me? Is there going to be a big separation or a big wedge that's drawn now because I'm in a completely different household, and I'm not there anymore to do all of the things that I was doing before? And the answer to that is absolutely no. There is no wedge. There's no lack of love. In fact, what's happened since I left, everybody has thrived. So Eric has his own place now, his own home. Crystal's in her own space with her kids, and she's queen of the castle, and she doesn't have mom there anymore. She's doing amazing. She's a beautiful mother. She's just taken the reins on that so well, and I'm so proud of her. And then myself here in this space, I've started to find myself again. It's taken a little bit of time, but it's coming, and I feel so good about it. I couldn't be more at peace, to be honest. It's just amazing to think about how much has happened in just a year. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And there was this knowledge that in that current living space, there was an energy drain on all parties, and it was just because of all the relations, the interrelations that you had, and there was just time needed to be spent in individuations. And I am so amazed at this manifestation that you've received. And I know it's not because of the session, but I think that there's a contribution there where you felt like, huh, I can see some new possibilities. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's because of the session, but
Yeah.
that definitely shed light on the next steps to take, or brought to light some of the underlying issues or things that are going on, that are holding the blockages, that are holding you back or holding myself back, and what needed to happen next, to move to that next step, to get to that next space where I wanted to be. At the time, I was really thinking that I had this mission to help the world and help people with healing and do all of these things. And I had all of these grandiose dreams, but I just could not get to that space at all in my mind, anywhere in my space. I just had no area for it. And now I'm in this space and I feel like it's kind of opened another door and then another door and then another door. And it's pretty neat to just watch this all unfold. I would highly recommend, really. I mean, if you have the opportunity to do a session like this, and even multiple of them, just just to kind of remind you. I mean, because it is your higher self speaking to you, and just to remind you, where's your path? What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are the blockages? How can that help you in your daily life, on so many different levels?
Speaking of health, there was a profound revelation. So Dr. Erica says, do a body scan. Is there anything? Yeah, the knee needs to be looked at. And the stress and the whatever, the knee and the mobility, and there were some reasons why, but there was an issue. And she said, can you heal the knee? And you're like, yeah, we can do that. And we're going to heal the knee. Give me the update about the physicality of your body.
I actually forgot that my knee was hurt
Oh,
because it
wow.
has never come back. So yeah, nothing. In fact, I've recently started exercising and doing things. I know this sounds weird, but squats and things that I was not able to do before. And especially that day and leading up to that day, the burden that I was carrying, and I really feel like that's what it was. This burden that I was carrying is so heavy that it was just breaking me down. And now things have lightened up so much that I have no pain in my knee at all.
Wow. Absolutely
And
incredible.
yeah,
And it's been a long time since your session, so it's not like it was just a couple weeks ago. I mean, even the
right,
2 weeks later, you're all like, I'm going to go out for a hike and I feel better. And now
right.
it's been a long time since your session and you're still having these benefits from it physically.
Yeah, yeah.
That's incredible. So the session informed you, you had a physical manifestation, you've moved into a new house, a lot of positive things. If someone were to say to you, tell me about Dr. Erica, should I do a session with her? What would you say?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely, yes. I can't speak highly enough of her. I honestly can't. She is the most genuine, beautiful woman. Sure, she is so knowledgeable about the QHHT sessions. Just the way she's very nurturing when she goes into session with you. She makes you feel very comfortable, very relaxed, safe, in that space. And I would highly recommend her over and over again. Yes, for
And
sure.
she's no nonsense either. So you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know. She's like, really, tell me more about it. And you're like,
Yes.
well, I don't know.
Yep.
No, come on, tell me more. So she was like insistent. She wanted you to pull out those answers. And I love with this work, she's not telling you stuff. You're telling yourself stuff. She's like,
Mhm.
her biggest thing was, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
She was insistent. I love that.
Insistent, yeah, and I think that's what you need too, when
Yeah.
especially when you're in session. She wants to make sure that you are going to get everything that you needed out of this session. So your questions, all your things, she will pull it all out, like you said, and she just keeps pulling, and when you don't say something, she knows. She's very intuitive that way, and she'll dig a little deeper there to see, what else do we need to work on over here? Is this something else that needs to be brought up during sessions? So I highly recommend her. Wouldn't probably, I mean, I know that there's practitioners all over, but she's my favorite. So
That's great. That's great. Well, I love that we got to share your journey. There was many things that happened. There was all sorts of stuff that came up in your session. Those were the highlights that I felt were just so beautiful. And thank you for sharing that journey. I mean, that's
absolutely.
just such a vulnerable space when you're like, I'm having a journey into my soul. You know, it's really precious to be able to do that. So thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yes.
If there was one thing you wanted to make sure people know or took away from this conversation today, what would that be for you?
You have it. You have it all, you know, and if you wanna buy a house, you can buy a house, you know, if you just any of those things, I would say just really look within and pull it out and dig it out, you know, find that power inside of yourself and be the light.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, friend. Thank you for sharing with us
Yeah.
all. And I appreciate you so much. And to you, I say namaste.